All right, we are doing day 12.7. We are on page 4 in the packet. Please turn to page 4. It's not numbered, as you can tell, but the easy way to get there is to go to page 3 and then turn the page. All right, we're doing linear equations. When we have multiple choice answers, that's the easiest way. You have a graph, you have multiple choice. What do you need to do? Put it in Desmos. So you're just going to graph them in Desmos. Y equals negative 3x plus 5. And you see that does not look like what we just graphed, so it's not A. So that's how you can do this whole page. Very simple. Put it in Desmos. You have multiple choice answers. Of course, the math way to do it would be to identify, let me see, this is my y-intercept at negative 5, so I know it couldn't be that plus 1, and it couldn't be that plus 1. So it would have to be one of these two. And then I would look at the slopes. That's going up 3 over 1. So on my paper, up 3 over 1, that's not that slope. This one's going up 1 over 3. That's that slope. So you can do it if you know the math, but putting it in Desmos gets it right every time when you have multiple choice answers. All right, so you're going to do the rest of that page in a moment. You're welcome to pause it and do it right now if you'd like. All right, on page 5, we are, which it's also not numbered as you can tell, just turn the page. We are doing a point and slope. Well, once again, we see we have multiple choice answers. We're going to use Desmos as a help for us. We can type, first of all, since it's wanting us to see if the point is on the line, we can type the point, parentheses, 1, comma, 1. There's the point. It appears. Now, you can't type in just a random slope when it's not attached to anything, so we just write the point, and then we can do this. Now, the slope obviously can help us identify which ones we shouldn't even pay attention to. Obviously, this first one doesn't have the right slope, so it has to be either B or C, and then we just type them in on Desmos. Y equals negative 2x plus 3. All right, that's not an equal sign. Equals. Oh, it's having trouble here. Y equals negative 2x plus 3. That goes through the line. You wouldn't have to graph the next one. I just want to show you what it looks like when it's not. Y equals negative 2x plus 8. That is not going through the dot, so it's not that one. All right. You can see that that's how you'll do all of those. You can do it by hand, but we're getting ready for STAAR, so we're going to use all the STAAR tools that we have. Next, we have tables, and then we are given multiple choice equations. Well, of course, what are we going to do? Make a table, and then graph your equations and see if they match. That's totally fine. You can also, so by what I mean by make the equations, if you make this table yourself, let me get a new Desmos, if you hit the plus button and make a table, you could type in these table values, and then do you remember what you would put underneath it? Y1 tilde mx1 plus b. So that's what you would type under it, and it would give you your M and your B, and you can compare it. So that's one way. You can tell we're going to do that in a second down here because these do not have multiple choice answers. That method still works up here, but a lot of students can forget the Y equals mx plus B here. When they give you the equations, you just type in your equation and then make the table. So we type in Y equals it's f of x on this one. F of x and y are the same thing, but I'm just going to keep it the same just to keep it like it's typed. F of x equals 2x plus 5. Well, I don't know why the plus button is not happy. There it is. Y equals 2x plus 5. Great. How do we get the table? Hit the gear button. Hit the table button. Now I need to change my x values to 2, 4, 6. Right now it's negative 2. No, let's get it as 2, 4, and 6. I don't need these bottom ones, so I'm just going to get rid of those. All right, 2, 4, 6. Does 9, 13, and 17 match? No, so I know it's not this one. Now, when I'm doing my next one, I can just keep this table and then change this equation up here. 1/2, right arrow to get out of the denominator, x plus 4. 1/2 x plus 4. And then I look, 5, 6, 7. Is that what we have here? 5, 6, 7. So we're happy with that. Now, just as one quick reminder, a lot of you on some problems, when we do this, sometimes when you change this top equation, sometimes it doesn't change your equation down here in the table, especially when you put a y equals instead of an f of x equals. So when you change this equation on top, if it does not change the equation up here in this top part of the table, then you'd need to change it in the top part of the table. That's where you would need to do the changing of it. That's just a heads up. It didn't happen on that one. That one worked out just fine. All right, you'll do 2 and 3 in a moment. You can come back to it, or you could pause and do them now. Let's take a look at this next section. Here's where we're doing 2 points. We do not have multiple choice answers, so we can't just type in an equation and get our work. So what we're going to do is exactly what it says. Use Desmos, add a table, and plug in your 2 points. 2 points is a table. It's just not written in table form, but a table's just a set of points. All right, let's get our keyboard. We've got 6, 10. Nope, didn't get a 0. And then 4, 8. All right, we have the 2 dots, 6, 10, 4, 8. And then you remember we're just typing y equals mx plus b. That's our slope-intercept form. But instead of y, we're putting what's in the top of the table, y1, so that it knows what it's grabbing it from. And then remember we have to do the tilde sign, which is down there. y1 tilde m. I just left the m's. M, x1. It's x1 because look at the top of your table. That's an x1, not just an x. And then plus b. Y equals mx plus b. There we go. Now look at the bottom of this. It gives us our m. It gives us the b. So we can write our equation. Y equals, I'll just write it out originally, mx plus b. But instead of the m, we just found it on the calculator. That's a 1x. And then instead of the b, it's a 4. So it's y equals 1x plus 4. All right, you can pause and do the next 2, or you can come back and do them in a moment. Number 6. We're doing parallel and perpendicular lines. Remember, parallel lines have what kind of slope? Parallel lines have the same slope. These 2 lines have the same slope. They never touch. They're parallel lines. Perpendicular lines have opposite, flipped slope. And they hit each other at a 90-degree angle. All right. You may not understand that yet, but let's just do some and you'll get it. Parallel means same slope. So we see the slope here. That's our m. Remember, y equals mx plus b. M is slope. B is y-intercept. So if it's the same slope, they're telling me to use the same slope, then I'm just pulling that too. Same slope as that. So I look at my answer choices and I can already cross out the ones that don't have a slope of 2. So now it's just between b and d. And it wants to know which ones of those pass through that point. Well, make the point on your table, open parentheses, 2, 8. Not on your table, on Desmos, I mean to say. There's the point. And then I graph those 2 and see which one it's going to be. Y equals 2x plus 8. Does that line go through the point? No. So now I do the other point. Y equals 2x plus 4. That goes through the point. We're happy with that one. All right, number 2 is similar, except it says perpendicular. That means opposite, flipped slope. So we see the slope there is 4, and of course we know that's 4 over 1, but it's going to turn into, that would be the same, that would be parallel. Now we're going to turn it into opposite flipped. So we flip it. It's now 1 over 4. It was positive. Now it's negative. If it had been negative 4 over 1, now it would be positive 1 over 4. All right, so that's the slope we want. We look at our answers. That one's positive. That one's not even a fraction. There we have the 2 negatives. And we're going to graph this point and then graph these lines and see which one goes through. Okay, let's go to the next page. You can do the rest of these. You obviously need to finish number 2. You need to put the point in yours and then graph those 2 lines and see if they fit. All right, on to page 7. Page 7, last page. All right, we see that we are checking what happens, comparing lines. What happens when we do something to a line? The slope can get, if we change the slope, what can happen to it? It can either get steeper or flatter. More flat, less steep. Okay. If the slope of f of x doubles, so if the slope doubles, what would that look like? Well, we know the original line is y equals x. That's the parent function of a straight line, y equals x. So the new line, if we double the slope, right now there's a 1 in front of the x. That's the normal slope, 1 over 1. If we double it, now it's going to be y equals 2x. So what's the effect? Well, if you don't know in your head, go over to your calculator and graph it. Y equals x. That's our original one, the parent function. You need to know that. And then the next one is going to be y equals 2x. Well, it went from the red one to the blue one. That's obviously steeper. If you were going up the hill, that would be a steeper hill to go up. So it's steeper. Steeper. We can draw the original one as going up 1 over 1, 1 over 1. The next one is going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1 is what these are. All right, so we can obviously tell that's a steeper line. You'll do this one down here and see what that effect is. All right, now what happens if instead of changing slope, what if we change the y-intercept? Well, it's not going to make it steeper or flatter. It's going to make it shift up or down, one of the two, shifting up or down. All right, it says you're going to increase the y-intercept by 3. Increase the y-intercept by 3. I'm going to delete the second equation. We're going to use the same parent function, y equals x. That's always the same parent function, y equals x. And now we're going to change it to y equals x plus 3. It went up 3. The y-intercept is the b at the back, and it went up 3. Plus 3. Yeah, we're looking at our graph. Went from red to green. Up 3. So the new line is y equals x plus 3 because we changed the y-intercept by 3, and the effect was shift up 3. We can draw the original one. Has a slope of 1, 1, goes through the origin, and the new one is up 3. Just like that. All right, you'll do those bottom 2. Okay, your job right now is to go through all the pages we just did and finish the ones that we left blank. So go back from 7 to 6 to 5, which was unnumbered, and then 4. So do all of those questions. Good job.